Why hate you, face? Oh god!
15 seconds left.
Oh my god, time me. Oh god. Oh god. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Perpetual Noob, and today I want to talk about the PlayStation 4 Pro. You know, if you don't have one and you have a PS4, probably don't buy it. You know, you're okay, you got it. I know it's the shiny new thing, but it's the shiny new thing. You don't really need it. No one needs this thing. This is a absolute want. Anyone who tries to tell you you need a PS4 Pro is lying to you. If you have a 1080p TV and a PS4, you're set. If you don't have a PS4 and you've been wanting one, and you have a 4K TV, you got it. You're golden. Go waste your money on this slightly upgraded PS4 because it would be kind of dumb to get the old one if you have that setup. Now, for people who have a 4K TV and a PS4, then maybe. Let's give it a solid maybe. But this isn't a huge generational leap. There is no reason to go run out and buy this thing right away. Especially if you're willing to wait a little bit, you're probably going to get a huge deal next year when the Scorpio comes out. But you don't need any of these boxes. Avoid the hype. Don't be an early adopter. If you're foolish enough to buy into the PS4 Pro, or even PSVR, is that you're buying into Sony, and Sony doesn't have the greatest record for supporting their peripherals. The PlayStation Move, the Vita, these things did not do well, and a big reason is because of the way they were supported. So if you're one of these idiots who goes out and buys a PS4 Pro, you're basically just asking for it at this point. You have that lineage, you have a weird mid-generation upgrade that's never been done before. You gotta look out for those kind of things. There should be really no reason to go out and buy one. Coming from a PC player who switched off consoles, you know, after the PS3 basically, I haven't had any regrets. There's been no reason for me to go get one. I can't find an excuse to do it. There's no reason to do it. I can't keep lying to you. It's behind me, isn't it? Okay, now hear me out. I know I'm a raging hypocrite for having bought this thing, but here's what happened. Over the summer, I had a chance to borrow PS4 and play some of Uncharted 4 with my wife, and that has been a tradition for us ever since the beginning of the series, is to play every Uncharted together. And we got, I want to say, 2/3 of the way through that game, and we were absolutely loving it. And not only that, there are some games on PC that rival this, but nothing comes close in the overall presentation and just cinematic gameplay. There's nothing like it on PC. But anyway, so we got 2/3 through the game, and then I had to take the PS4 back, and I was like, okay, you know, I really enjoyed it. And I was thinking about getting a PS4, but I was like, no, that's not a reason. Uncharted 4 alone isn't the reason. Cut to this fall with the Game Awards coming up, the PlayStation event coming up, and I was starting to get a little hyped, but I hadn't really even thought about buying a Pro. I thought, again, I don't have a 4K TV, and it's something, again, where the hype was dormant, if that makes sense. I was like, yeah, that'd be cool one day, but didn't want it right away. I was at work, and I had my iPhone on shuffle with my music, and the Uncharted soundtrack popped up. Feel free to make fun of me. I have the Uncharted soundtrack on my phone, and I had this nostalgic moment where I was just wanting to play that game and beat it, and it was driving me slowly insane. And on top of that, there are so many good games coming out that are just on that console. Ni no Kuni 2, Shenmue 3 technically might come to PC, but I don't want to take the chance. The Final Fantasy VII remake. There are tons of things. The new Uncharted that was announced. The Last of Us 2. You could keep going. The Spider-Man game. Whatever Sucker Punch is working on. There are a ton of games. So I went out and I finally bought it. And I bought Hitman along with it. And I bought Rise of the Tomb Raider. And I know those games are available on PC, but I'll tell you why I did that in a moment. And I also got Until Dawn, which I've been dying to play because now I'm not. It's a horror game. I don't know why I did that. It looked cool, and then now I'm thinking about it. I'm going to be there with Alien Isolation 20 hours in. I haven't beaten the damn thing. That was stupid. So, I got these games. I was super excited to play them. I loaded them up. Uncharted 4 ran flawlessly, started having a great time. I got into Hitman a little bit, and there's just something about, and this is going to sound dumb, sitting on a couch with a controller and playing a game that feels more relaxing than when I'm gaming on a PC. When I'm on a PC and I'm gaming, I take it with a certain level of seriousness. I don't know if it's I'm in this chair, I'm sitting, I got my command center, this ridiculous widescreen monitor that makes me feel like a boss. I don't know if that's it. I have no idea. But while I was sitting on the couch enjoying my console, I ran into some issues. So let's start off with what I tried to do. So you know what? I was like, hey, I'm going to play some Rise of the Tomb Raider. It looks pretty good. And you know what? I want to see what it's like compared to Uncharted 4. And the minute I tried to load it up, it froze on the main menu. I checked to see if all the patches were on and updated, and they were. I checked the console to make sure it had all its updates and all its firmware. It did. And after hours of searching and just over and over again, these stalls and this freezing, to the point where it like screwed up my whole PS4 Pro, I found the solution. I had to turn the date back to before August 15th, 2015. What the fuck is that? Why? What? I've never ever heard of having to do that to get a game to work. This bug, by the way, was on the Xbox One version a year ago. It came back in the PC version they released a few months later. So I tried to go back to Hitman, which I really enjoyed, and I couldn't get on because the servers were down in a single-player game, which I know has online components, but there is no reason to make it so that it requires servers constantly to run. Or even for the autosaves are online. So if you don't do manual saves, you're screwed. Your autosaves are stuck online. The game is stuck online. You can't even get through. So that sucked. Once I finally did get through, after all the server issues, I had some janky, weird stuff happening. Like characters in the background, like further in the distance, were walking like super slow-mo, while characters near me were just walking normal. And that didn't make sense. And soon the whole game started to chug. And then I got this little beautiful pattern on my PS4 Afterbit where it showed a checkerboard and froze. And this would happen every time. I couldn't get it to turn on without doing that. Even the menus started slowing down. It was absolutely crazy. I got all of that fixed. Somehow I had to reinitialize and do that. There was still some chugging. I did it a few more times after I did that. Finally got to work. And then probably asking for an issue, I put in a copy of Assassin's Creed Unity my wife bought because she thought, hey, it's $5, you know, it has to be worth $5, right? We put in Assassin's Creed Unity, and the menu's skipping, bop, 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 bop. So my experience so far has been kind of awful in some ways, just in terms of it running. Now, maybe I have a bad model, maybe it's launch PS4 Pro issues. I hope not, because that would absolutely suck. But again, with some of the issues, when I was looking them up on forums and things, they're not completely rare issues. There's a decent amount of people have had problems with these games overall. And that just isn't what consoles are to me. They're supposed to be this easy out-of-the-box experience compared to PCs. With all these issues, it's weird that people are still okay with consoles and think they're this simple and easy to use thing, when really I had more issues with this thing than I've had with this computer since I've built it in July, or even my old system, which like got beat up in shipping. I just can't fathom why people think consoles are easier. When people are making the choice, and if they can make one, I really recommend PC. I would say one big disappointment with the Pro is I would really like a more uniform way that you can use its features or its graphical grunt. I think every game should have a 60 frames a second 1080p mode. I think it should also have a super sampled 30 frames per second mode just for 1080p screens if you want quality. And then 4K, same thing. There should be a 30 frames and a 60 frames if they can. One may be downsampled, one may be upsampled. I think that's how they should do it, and it should be in every copy. Certain games do it, and it's really awesome. I know Rise of the Tomb Raider has a high frame rate mode. I believe Hitman has a high frame rate mode, but I know they're trying to push the 4K, so that's the big one you see most games supporting. And I really think that's a shame considering the extra power in the system. If you could get that adaptability into there, that's one argument away from PC. And I hate to say it, but it'd be a good one. Because that's what people usually argue, is I can get higher frame rates if I want. If you could do that with a console, awesome. And we're so close with this. Alright, so that's basically all my thoughts on the PS4 Pro. I'm actually going to be trying to stream with it starting next week. My setup will be very basic. I don't have a webcam for it. I don't have a capture card on my PC, so I can't use the stuff I have. I might be able to use my microphone in my headset. So get ready to hear my sultry voice. My pneumonia-ridden sultry voice, which you all know and love. And I will be starting with Hitman, actually. They have Christmas DLC where you can basically disguise yourself as Santa and you're trying to stop two thieves from taking presents and you're assassinating them. Sounds like the Christmas spirit to me. So I'll see you guys on the next Perpetual Noob. Check me out on my Twitch stream, Twitter, and Facebook, and I'll see you next time.